Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Local Pundit. I'm Josh Anthony. This is your Wrexham news and matchday preview show. Yes, Wrexham are back in the league, as you can see from the title. Back to league business. Yes, we are playing Forest Green Rovers, traveling away to the new lawn on Saturday morning, 7 o'clock, 3 o'clock local time, I believe. And we will be doing a live watch along for that. So everyone, please come by, and thank you for joining us during the week as we crashed out of the Bristol Street Motors Trophy, losing to Burton Albion. That is, sorry about that. Losing to Burton Albion and 3-2, which is a good fist of it, but obviously changed squad, and also getting through the FA Cup against Yeovil Town, setting up that cross-border derby against Shrewsbury Town, which should be on January 6th or on or about there. We have a game lined up already against MK Dons, so we'll talk about that. We're going to talk about what's coming up and talk about the team, and talk about what you can expect coming for the next few games, because we got some games coming thick and fast. December and early January are going to be tough. So let's walk through it. But I want to also, first off, put this out there. We had a club statement this morning. Very sad news. Rest in peace, David Powell, former Wrexham player, died at the age of 79. That came out today on the Wrexham website. So we want to give a special shout out to him and to his family. Rest in peace. Here's the statement. It says, Powell was born in Donegal, appeared 154 times for the club of Wrexham, having also represented Wales on the international stage between 1968 and 1972. He was picked up by Wrexham as an apprentice in 1962, where he worked as a part-time ground staff. That's pretty cool. Following on from his apprenticeship, he earned his first professional deal with the club. Powell went on to forge a successful career that spanned over 12 years, but he later was forced to retire through injury. Talented fullback who could play on either side, he was part of the 1965 Wrexham side that came second place in the Welsh Cup. So that came out today. Sad news for the club and for his family. David Powell, please rest in peace. So I wanted to put that out there to all the community, everybody. Hopefully everyone will put their arms around him. I'm sure there'll probably be some kind of clap during the game, or like a moment of silence before the match on the weekend. So rest in peace, David Powell. Okay, yes, that is first thing we want to get out of the way, and it's very important. Second thing, it is Sam Dalby's birthday. He's 24 years young. So happy birthday to Sam Dalby. I remember when I was 24 last week. That was awesome. So he's got a big career ahead of him if he keeps going. He scored two games on the bounce, had that chip in the Yeovil Town game, sealing that deal, and he had a great left-footed curling strike against Burton Albion. So it's his birthday today. Happy birthday, Sam Dalby. It's a good player. Good player. Does it warrant him getting a start this weekend against Forest Green? I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll talk about that a little bit. We'll see what we can expect. But let's talk about the run of games that are going to happen in December. It's coming thick and fast. And as I look at, I have my notes up here, and I have what's coming up in December. And today is December 7th. It's 9:30 a.m. here in LA. December 7th, and we have a game on Saturday. And the matches that we have coming up are insane. Let's walk through it a little bit. And so we have five games left in December, all league games. These are all league games. So right now, currently, we're in second place, and we're chasing Stockport, who are flying. So check this out. We have a game on Saturday, December 9th, against Forest Green Rovers. That's away. They're in 23rd place. We go to the new lawn, all right? Colchester United, that's home. They're in 21st place. That's on the 16th. So the 9th and the 16th, and Colchester are in 21st place. That's home to Stoke, at the Stoke. 23rd, okay, 23rd, Newport County, 15th place. That's home at the Stoke again. On the 26th, Boxing Day, Swindon Town. That's away. They're in 8th. That's at the county ground. And the 29th is away, and they're 19th at Walsall, and they're in 19th place. That's at the Poundland, Bescott Stadium. I like saying the Poundland. That's kind of cool. So they're in 19th. That's at Walsall, and at 29th. So doesn't stop from there. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games. 5 games within 72 hours of each other. And I want to talk about this next, about some of the squad depth that we have and some of the injuries and things that can happen. But, December's going to be a tough month. We've already had a few games in early December, and we have injuries. It's going to be an issue. But January, so check this out. January, on the 29th, that's the last game against Walsall in 2023. January, 2 huge games early on in January. Monday, we play Barrow. That is the 1st of January, which is, you can't even enjoy the new year. You got to go right into a match. That's a home game. So that's a home game against Barrow, who are fucking flying. Barrow are great. They lost. They won 5 on the bounce. I think they lost in the cup the other day, but they won 5 on the bounce. So that is a team that we need to be reckoning with, and they're a fantastic squad. I can't wait to see what that's going to look like after these 5 games. But between Stockport and between Barrow, we're bounced right in the middle of two teams that are doing really well. So that game happens on the 1st, and then on the 6th. So we have MK Dons lined up away at the Stadium MK, and we have also Shrewsbury Town away at the Crowd Meadow. So that's the FA Cup game, and I think that's going to take precedence to the FA Cup game is going to take precedence to the MK Dons game. So all those games: Forest Green, Colchester, Newport, Swindon, and Walsall. That, and then going into Barrow right there. So that's insane. That's a lot of matches, and if we listen, all the games are winnable on paper because you're at 21st place, 15th, 8th, 19th. Forest Green are battling relegation. They're one up on Sutton, I think it is. Yes, they're one up on Sutton. We'll talk about that in a second. Yeah, they're 1 point up on Sutton, and they're not doing that great. Either team is, and they're both in the relegation zone. So currently right now, we sit in second. We're 5 points behind Stockport, who have 42 points, and then Barrow's right behind us. So on paper, all of those matches in December are winnable matches, every single one of them. But you obviously don't play the game on paper. That's not how this goes. We have injuries we need to look at. Then Parkinson's going to have to probably make some changes because we don't want the teams to get tired. It's still the long season. It's only the 21st game of the season. Plus we have the run of maybe FA Cup. We keep going. Obviously, we're out of the Bristol Street Motors Cup, which as we talked about, lose the battle to win the wars. That's what we want to do. And these are the wars. These games are the wars that we talked about. And the FA Cup game is also part of the war. I'm not saying, I think that Shrewsbury Town game, the cross-border derby, is a winnable match, and maybe we can go on to get a home game against someone big. That'd be great. But these are the wars, and this is what we were talking about. It's going to be a tough run. Now, on that note, what does Parkinson do? What is he going to have to do? I think he's going to have to use his squad depth which also makes me a little bit nervous. Not to the point where it's like we're in trouble, but we got Fletcher out, Ford's out, Hayden went out, and he's also got a contract injury. Okonkwo is getting surgery on his jaw, and he's been great. And yes, Howard's good, but he's not Okonkwo. And I think that's there's levels there. Howard, I think he's 37 and 38 years old, and Okonkwo's 22 years old, and he's done fantastic. But you want to have depth. You never know what can happen. It's a tough league. Like I mentioned, Ford, Hayden, he's got a contract issue. Barnett, Fletcher, and O'Connell. Who's going to come back soon? We got to get injury updates on them and see how this is going to play out during the Christmas season. So we'll look into that. My worry for me is central defender, center back, and the cover in the midfield. I think we can get away with it up front with Mullen and Palmer and Dalby and even Bickerstaff, who didn't have a horrible game the other night, but I would say between Dalby, Mullen, and Palmer, I think we can cover up front. I think that's pretty good cover up front, but central defender and the midfield is tough. So Andy Cannon is in the mid. Let's talk about the midfield first. Midfield, listen, that 3 of Andy Cannon, Lee, and Evans is great. Gorgeous George is probably my man of the season so far. I think he's doing really well. If he goes down, who's going to cover for him? Seriously, who's going to cover for him? His breakup of play, his range of passing is fantastic. Allowing Lee and Andy Cannon to go, Lee going forward and Andy Cannon to get into spaces, and also causing havoc and breaking up play. So that is my concern, is the midfield and central defender and center back. So we have Tozer, O'Connor, and Hayden, and Hayden's down with an injury. So what I would do right now, if we're talking about the back, the 3 at the back, I would probably put Boyle in there. Now, some say like you can put, if the midfield goes down, you could put O'Connor in the midfield, but I like him better at center back. For a guy who's not that tall, O'Connor wins a lot of balls in the air. And so does Boyle. Boyle, the classic old school brazy defender, go put his head anywhere. So I like him at the back. So I think if Hayden is out, I'm going O'Connor, Tozer, and Boyle, my three at the back. I think we had Boyle out on the wing at one point. I think in the Yeovil Town game, or no, was it the one? I'm not sure what the game was, but he played on the wing. He cannot play on the wing. He does the pace of the speed, and he can't get up and down. So you got to have McLean, you got to have Mendy. Now that's also nerve wracking too, because Ford is out and Barnett's out. So who's going to cover those wing backs as well? So midfield, center back, and the wings. McLean's doing really fantastic, and Mendy's playing really well also too. So the depth of the squad needs to be used well. James Jones did okay the other night, but he's no Gorgeous George. So let's think about that. Do we go into the January window early? Because listen, all these matches, it's December 7th. That's 7 games within a month that are all important. And if we want to keep pace with Stockport and keep Barrow off our ass, we gotta rotate a bit. We definitely have to rotate a bit. So lot to come up, and a lot happening in this squad. And yes, we're probably in better shape than most teams in League Two with squad depth. But things can come into play. You never know what can happen. Konku's jaw thing, who saw that coming? Now granted, it's a better result that we wanted for him just to have surgery and only be a few weeks out. But things can happen. Anything can happen, and especially in this league, and especially when the pitches are going to get crappier because it's going to rain, it's going to snow. Things are going to come up. It's weather. It's an outdoor match. So all those things to look at. All right, let's move on a bit, and at some point, I want to talk about if we're going to go into the market. I know there's a lot of talk on some of the social media of who we're going after and things like that, but. I'm not too keen. I don't know enough about what we're looking at, and some of it kind of seems like BS and whatever. So let's talk about that a little bit later down the road. We'll do some kind of transfer show. Okay. Lastly, let's talk about the Forest Green Rovers match. Forest Green Rovers. Say that 3 times fast. So it's an away match, and it is at the Bolt New Lawn. It's Saturday, December 9th. 3 o'clock kickoff, 7 o'clock a.m. here, which is awesome, which means Friday night can't go out, although I think there's a holiday party I have to attend with the missus. So yeah, that's another story there. Okay. So game is on in the morning. There seems to be some controversy that is going on. Morning for me, by the way. There's a little bit of controversy. I was checking out their Twitter account. They had an issue with one of their FA Cup games about someone not being registered, or there was a question of someone being registered, one of their players. So I'm going to read the statement that they put up on their Twitter account, or X, whatever the hell we're calling it these days. Following an FA investigation into the eligibility of a Forest Green Rovers player, our FA Cup first-round tie at Scarborough will be replayed Tuesday, December 12th. Okay, so that's 3 days after we play them on Saturday. So let's smack them up really good, and then go, have their FA Cup replay game against Scarborough. So great. So they have a game coming up thick and fast, just as we do. So let's smack them up early and put them off. So it's a piece of some cat hair there. So okay, that's their statement. So I guess they had a little bit of issue there. It happens. What are you going to do? So let's talk about them a little bit and who they are and what they're about. Yes, they're green and all the good stuff. I think it might be a plastic pitch. I'm not sure, or a 4G pitch. I tried to look and check it out, but we can talk about that in the chat during the game. So it might be plastic pitch. If not, I don't know. I do see that they were building another stadium, which looked really nice, by the way. Okay, so they're in 23rd. They've won 4 games, drawn 3, lost 12. Negative 15 goal diff, 15 points. They have 15 points and have won 1 game in 5. So they're not doing that great. They're in the relegation zone, bottom 2. Where they're definitely in trouble, and they're definitely not having the greatest season. They have 15 points. Sutton have 14 points. So what I would like to do is I'd like to put a really strong side out. Got a lot of people rested. Got Mullen rested. Evans and Lee rested on the weekend. Tozer also got some rest, although McLean did come on for a little bit, and Mendy did got some rest. So what I would like to do is get at them early. I think we can get at them early. Same as before. I know Dalby has scored 2 on the bounce, and he had just had a birthday, which doesn't matter, but I think he can come off the bench. I'd go with the I'd go with not Okonkwo. I'd go with Howard in goal. I'd go 3 at the back: O'Connor, Boyle, and Tozer. Those are 3 at the back. I'd go McLean, Mendy, and then I'd go Lee, Evans, and Andy Cannon. That's the 2 I would go with, and I go Palmer and Mullen up front, and then that's what I would do. Let's go with the strongest side we have at this point. Boyle will come in for Hayden if he's out, and that's the team I think we should go with. And if we get at them early, kill their spirit, get the main guys off, have some rest. I think that's the way we should go. So business as usual. Everything's not played on paper. This is a game we need to win. I think if we win, I mean, you never want 5 out of 5 games. It'd be fantastic. I'd love to do that. But, you know, we don't know if it's possible. Anything can happen. So got a nice run of games up for us to keep pace with Stockport. And I think we can, all are winnable matches, but we have to go out and play the game. And on Saturday, it starts back in the league after 2 games off for the cup matches. And that's how it's going. All right. That is your news show. We might tomorrow, it's Friday. We'll see what we can do. Maybe we'll get something up as well. But this is your preview for the match day 21, Forest Green Rovers versus Wrexham. And you know, also one last thing, RIP to David Powell and his family. And we will see you on Saturday, if not sooner. Let it rip. That is your show. Thank you very much. Talk soon.